If I say the name Brighton Beach, what pops into your head? Is it a classic seaside pier? Maybe a storefront with Cyrillic writing on it? Or is it a row of little colorful houses lined up on a sunny coast? Well, guess what? You could be right on all three counts. Today, we're going to unpack how one single name came to mean three totally different, totally fascinating places all around the world. Okay, let's get into it.
So let's start with the big question. What and where is Brighton Beach? Is it a historic British resort, a Russian-speaking neighborhood in America, or an exclusive Australian coastline? And the answer is, well, it's yes. Untangling this puzzle tells us so much about history, about immigration, and about how a place really finds its own unique soul.
I mean, just look at this. On the one hand, you've got this picture, a grand old Victorian pier stretching out into a pretty chilly-looking sea. So classic. But then you got this, a bookstore sign in Russian, right underneath an elevated subway track. These two images are just worlds apart, right? Yet they both go by the same name, and that's the mystery we're solving today.
Okay, let's start at the beginning, with the OG, the original namesake, Brighton, down on the south coast of England. This is the place that pretty much wrote the book on the classic seaside resort, a tradition that's been going strong for way over a century.
This view just sums it all up, doesn't it? You can almost hear that iconic sound of the waves rolling back over the famous Pebble Beach. And that 4-mile-long promenade, wow, it's like the city's main artery, a stage for everything from street performers on a sunny day to quiet, bundled-up walks in the winter.
And here are all the pieces that make the Brighton experience what it is. You've got the Palace Pier, which you can see all lit up here. It opened way back in 1899, and it's still the glowing heart of the city. Then you've got the classic striped deck chairs, the essential fish and chips, just watch out for the seagulls, and even the Sea Life Center, which is the world's oldest operating aquarium from 1872. It's so close to London, a lot of people just call it London's beach.
All right, let's hop across the Atlantic to Brooklyn, New York, where another Brighton Beach tells a totally different story. This isn't a story of Victorian holidays, no way. This is a story of immigration, of resilience, and of building a completely unique cultural world.
You really have to look at the timeline to get it. It was actually founded in 1878 as a fancy resort, meant to be the American Brighton. But its whole destiny changed. First, it became a haven for Jewish families escaping the crowded city, then for Holocaust survivors after World War II. But the real transformation, the one that defines it today, started in the 1970s with a huge wave of immigration from the Soviet Union, and that's how it famously became Little Odessa.
And this data from 2011 really puts that identity into numbers. Just look at that. Almost half of all immigrants in the neighborhood came from just two countries, Russia and Ukraine. That incredible concentration is exactly what allowed this distinct Russian-speaking culture to just blossom thousands of miles from home.
So what exactly is Little Odessa? Well, the name comes from the Ukrainian city on the Black Sea, which also had a huge Jewish population. It's a nickname that just perfectly captures the spirit of this Brooklyn neighborhood, a place where the Russian language, the food, the customs, they're all just baked into every single corner.
And you can forget about fish and chips here. The taste of this Brighton Beach is a whole other world. We're talking hearty borscht, delicious dumplings called vareniki, and these amazing savory fried turnovers called chibareki. Seriously, when you walk down Brighton Beach Avenue, it's like you've been transported, with the smells of authentic Eastern European food all around you.
Okay, for our final stop, let's journey halfway around the world to Brighton, a suburb of Melbourne, Australia. Now, this Brighton isn't defined by arcades or Soviet-era history. Nope. This one is all about sunshine, exclusivity, and one of the most picture-perfect coastal sites in the entire country.
And there they are, the 96 historic bathing boxes of Dendy Street Beach. I mean, look at them. These simple, uniform wooden huts with their corrugated iron roofs and all those vibrant colors, they create a scene that is so perfect it draws over 1 million visitors every year. And they go way back to the 1860s, originally built to give Victorian-era swimmers a bit of privacy.
But here's the truly mind-blowing part, their value. Take a guess how much one of these little wooden boxes costs. Go on. One recently sold for 450,000 Australian dollars. I'm not kidding. That's for a structure with no electricity, no running water, that's smaller than a parking space. It is a wild example of how location and scarcity can create just insane value.
And it's not like you can just do whatever you want with it. The rules are super strict. Yeah, you can use it to store your paddle boards and beach chairs, have a get-together with friends.
But you absolutely cannot sleep in it, you can't rent it out, and, this is the big one, you have to be a local resident of the Bayside area just to be allowed to buy one. It is a very, very exclusive club.
So there we have it. 3 continents, 3 completely different coastlines. A classic British resort, a Soviet-American melting pot, and an exclusive Australian beach. Let's pull it all back together and see just how these separate worlds stack up.
This table just lays out the stark differences so clearly. You've got the UK's original resort with its pebbly beach and Victorian Pier. Then there's the USA's Little Odessa, totally defined by its immigrant culture. And finally, Australia's postcard coast, famous for that exclusive lifestyle. It's just amazing how 3 places could start with the same name but end up with completely different souls.
So you see, the name itself is sort of an echo of English heritage. The American resort was literally named after the British one. But a name is just a starting point, right? History, migration, and local culture, they all took over, and each place just went down its own path, creating the distinct worlds we see today.
It really gets you thinking, doesn't it? How many other places named Paris or Berlin or Springfield are out there, sharing a name but living completely different lives? It's just a great reminder that a place is so much more than what it's called. It's the stories of the people who call it home.